Hi, it's Daphne here, back with part 2 of the manipulation tactics that my narcissistic ex used to keep me hanging on while he was secretly planning a future with someone else. More manipulation, more lies, and signs when the other woman started to surface. Stay tuned to hear about it. Thank you for joining me. Thanks for the likes, thanks for the comments, and a special thank you to my subscribers. I really appreciate the support. Okay, and if you like the video, go ahead and give it a like. And please subscribe to show your support. Okay, in my last video, I mentioned some of the manipulation tactics that my narcissistic ex used. He tricked me into a relationship with a trip that never happened. Love bombing, threatening, gaslighting, guilt tripping, lies, withholding the key to his apartment. And he used my own trust against me, false hope, COVID, and portraying a false image. I was manipulated into thinking that I had a good man, but instead he ended up being a lying, cheating manipulator. Monarch X, he was in a relationship with me and another woman for at least 2 years. How? Lying and manipulating, and also she lived in another city. Okay, so throughout our relationship, we traveled, and especially around the holidays. Okay, so he would ask me where I would want to go for the holiday, but he stopped doing that. And inconsistency. And remember in my love bombing video, I had said, look out for consistency, but watch out for inconsistency, because just a little side note, inconsistency is a form of abuse. It keeps you confused. Okay, so I'm gonna go back to the December before he would get married again. It was around Christmas, and I didn't know it at the time, but wife number 4, or the person who would become wife number 4, she called. And you know what? I'm just going to go ahead and just refer to her as Linda. We'll just do Linda, okay? So anyway, Linda called, and I was surprised to hear his phone ring because he always kept it off. So he must have forgotten to turn it off at that night. Must have forgot to turn it off. Now, this is a person that he has proposed to and planning a future with, but he ignored her call and told me a manipulative lie and said that it was his cousin. And also, this will be the first time that he would deny his next next wife. Okay, and he went a little further with it. He even went a little further with it and told me that I could call his sister and ask her if this person was his cousin, if I didn't believe him. But he knew I wasn't going to do that. Okay, so this cousin who I'd never heard of, it raised eyebrows, but I went on trying to enjoy the evening because we were exchanging our gifts and celebrating our Christmas early. Because guess what? He was going out of town. Now, referring to the December when Linda called, I had asked about our plans for Christmas, but he told me he hadn't thought about it. But what he was doing was waiting until the last minute. So it would make me difficult for me to go because he knew that I had to request time off work in advance if we were going to go out of town. It was just all part of the manipulation. So at the last minute, he tells me that he is going to go out of town to visit his family and that I should go and visit mine. Okay, now the family that he said that I could visit at any time. Remember that from my last video? He guilt tripped me with that. Okay, and at this particular time, it's about 7 months before the big wedding day. And I was supposed to be a thing of the past. So he wasn't going to ask me to come along with him to go visit his family for Christmas. Okay, so December, it came and went, and it's now early in the next year, okay? And so just a few months into the next year, we're still a couple and doing all the things that couples do, okay? So around 2 months, though, before his next wedding, we went on our last trip. But after that, is when signs of another woman started to surface and his shenanigans started to unravel. But you know what? By the time I had realized all this and put it all together, it was too late, okay? I was already on that roller coaster and strapped in. Okay, so I'm going to start off with these signs of the other woman, okay? So sign number one, and just keep in mind it's all manipulation and lies to keep me hanging on, okay? So here's sign number one. So one night, I was at this place and I decided I was going to watch some YouTube videos. So I go to the TV to sign into my account and someone's already signed into it, the YouTube account. And it was Linda. And Linda's supposed to be the cousin, right? So I asked him, I said, who is this on the TV? Is this supposed to be cousin Linda? He looks at the TV and he says, I have a cousin named Linda, but that's not her. Now, this is the second time that he would deny his next wife, but he doesn't know who this is, okay? And if there was a time to come clean, that was it. But he continued with the act and the manipulation to escape accountability like narcissists do. They are not accountable for anything. They lack accountability, okay? So he told me that maybe his account got hacked into. Somebody hacked his account. And he's acting like he's really concerned about how this happened. He even told me that he was going to ask a relative, the one that knew that I was still around. He's going to ask this relative how this could happen. So like I say, he was acting like he was just so concerned. He has no idea how this person got on his TV. Okay. And he tells me he's going to find out how this happens and drop it, or I could go home. Those are my options, okay? He said, drop it or go home. And I believe I did. I had had enough of him for one night. And this is also an example of passive-aggressive behavior, which is also associated with narcissists. You know, he manipulated me with passive aggression to avoid conflict about the situation, okay? So I sat and contemplating, thinking in my mind and questioning myself. Could someone have hacked his account? Or how did this person's profile get on his TV? What's really going on? You know, that's what I'm telling myself. You know, how? I was at his place almost every day. I had a key. So I was just so confused. And if you're not familiar with gaslighting, this is a good example, okay? Gaslighting is a manipulation tactic, and it's also a form of psychological and emotional abuse. It makes you doubt your own reality, makes you think you're going crazy. You're just so confused. So he manipulated me with gaslighting also, okay? And sign number two. One day I was driving his car and I decided I was going to go ahead and take it to the car wash, and I did. So while I was vacuuming, I sucked something up from underneath the seat. It was my robe. The robe that I kept hanging in his bathroom, you know, for when I was there. Okay, so I asked him about it. How did my robe get underneath the car seat? And he said, I must have left it in the car. So he put it underneath the seat so people walking around in the parking lot at work wouldn't see it. Doesn't make any sense, okay? If it doesn't make sense, it is not true. Okay, so there's only one reason why he would stick my robe underneath the seat of the car, okay? He was covering his tracks. So, and it makes me wonder what he did with my other belongings while Linda was visiting. Okay, so, all right, number three, another sign that the other woman was there. But like I said, by the time I put all this together, it was too late. So one day we were going to the grocery store and do some shopping like we often did. And I saw this invitation in the car with his and Linda's name on it. Okay, so Linda's supposed to be the cousin, right? So she doesn't live in our city, and I'm wondering why someone would send him an invitation with his and his cousin's name on it. I mean, all kind of alarms started going off. He knows that I'm upset at this point. All right, all right, all right, all right. Linda is an ex. So I'm like, an ex? And he says yes. The person that sent the invitation didn't know they had broken up, and he hadn't spoken to these people in a long time. It doesn't make any sense. You know, he and I, we're 6 years in. How come they didn't know? So anyway, and I also asked him how they got his address. But he said that they must have gotten it from his sister. Just another manipulative lie, okay? All right. And so Linda, this is the person that he's marrying in a few weeks by this time, okay? So she went from being the cousin now to his ex. That's the third time that he would deny his next victim, next wife. Okay, so, and he said he didn't tell me because he knew that I would get mad. But anyway, he says to me, don't worry about it. You know, she's an ex for a reason. Like it was a privilege to be with him or something. Just so arrogant about it. Okay. He manipulated me into thinking that he was coming clean about Linda being his ex instead of his cousin. But he told lie after lie, one on top of another. Manipulation. Okay. And so remember, like I told you in my introduction video, that my narc ex was portraying himself to be someone who had it all together. But his shenanigans eventually started to unravel. All right. Okay, so here's let's see, sign number 4. Okay, number 4. Another time, he told me that he was getting another TV for his living room, and so he was going to take his TV and drive it to a relative, the same relative that knew that I was still around. And he even asked me if I wanted to go, but I declined. Okay, so he's taking his TV out of town, and so one day, I go back over to his apartment and there's another TV. Okay, he said he was going to get another TV. And he said he got it from his friend because his friend had owed him some money. All right, but I didn't think anything of it until I see Linda's profile on this TV. Okay, so I asked him, if you got this TV from your friend, how did Linda's profile get on this TV? Now he says, I don't know. He says, I don't know. And I mean, it was at that moment that I knew something just wasn't right. Okay, so I asked him, I said, well, Linda is supposed to be your ex. Has she been to your apartment? And he says, no, just, get immediately defensive, and that I can go and ask the neighbors if I didn't believe him. Does that sound familiar? Okay, he told me that I could ask his sister about the cousin if I didn't believe him. So anyway, I wasn't accusing him of cheating, but he thought that I was. I was only asking him questions that he didn't have truthful answers for. So he turns his back on me and tells me that I hurt his feelings because, I'm accusing him of cheating, and I hurt his feelings. Unbelievable. Can you believe that? I think he has earned the title Master Manipulator, okay? And knowing what I know now, I believe that it was Linda's TV. And he was making room for her things. That's why he took his away to replace it with hers. Okay, that's what I believe. Okay, and y'all, I just want to say, manipulation, it is abuse. And you see, my narc ex, he used manipulation tactics and did a lot of conniving and lying to manipulate me to avoid the accountability and to cover his tracks, and so that he could get away with being in 2 relationships at the same time, living a double life. Okay, there's some people out there who do not quite have it together, okay, mentally, but that does not give them the right to psychologically and emotionally abuse others for their own gratification. Okay, so I hope, as always, that this video has been beneficial to someone. Okay, and I want you to join me next time, and I'm going to talk about how the dangers of being in a narcissistic relationship, the dangers of being with a narcissist. Okay, so as I lived it. All right, so if you like the video, go ahead and like it and subscribe, like I said, to show your support. And most importantly, as always, please share. I want this to raise awareness and help others. Okay, so that's going to end this video, and until next time, good choices and happy thoughts.